I don't like new Kled, and I'm gonna tell you why. But what you're seeing right now in the background is going to be gameplay from old Kled, and I know that there is older Kled, but for the sake of comprehension, when I say old Kled, I mean the state that he was in before his most recent rework, as of August 7th, 2025, going from his like full lethality pseudo assassin skirmisher into this new like ham-fisted bruiser. So what you're seeing in the background is old Kled. I played a lot of old Kled. I made a few videos on it. I played him everywhere, and new Kled has just not really felt like he's hit the mark for me. As with all my videos, bear with me. This is less of a proper script and more of just a number of bulleted talking points. It's going to be a structured rant since I have a few different main complaints about New Kled. I mean, firstly, the easiest thing to notice as soon as you start playing New Kled is that he just deals so much less damage, and he does not have nearly enough like CC or tankiness to justify his new classification as a neutered pseudo bruiser. I don't know what they were trying to turn him into. He already felt like a fun mix of a fighter, assassin, skirmisher type character. I don't know what he is necessarily supposed to feel like right now, or I guess I do, but I don't know. I liked playing Kled because playing him made me feel insane. You know, you build straight damage, you nuke enemy champions at breakneck speeds, you make the dumbest plays of your life, hoping to God his remount actually worked like it was supposed to. And everything about Kled was by the skin of his teeth. Like, yes, I complained about his inconsistent, shitty remount constantly, but the monkey's paw curled, and instead of the simple fixes and changes that Kled players wanted, or, maybe that I wanted, whatever, we instead turned him into a champion that feels very, very different. And is this maybe a skill issue? Yes, obviously, Kled's proto bruiser, weird, wacky ass rework is still relatively new, sort of, and I'm still getting used to how new Kled works after playing old Kled for so long. There is an obvious adjustment period, but all I really wanted for old Kled was a functional remount. That's all I wanted. That's what everybody complained about. It is all I wanted. I don't care what items Kled can build as long as his core functionality is like a threatening stick-on skirmisher wasn't so tarnished, but I kind of feel like it was. And even if I get around to a better understanding of how Nude Kled works, it's still not going to be Old Kled, and I'm still going to be feeling off because I'm missing the damage that I used to have. The resistances and the fixed remount just wasn't worth dissecting the rest of him. What does it matter if I have my bear trap and my good sticking power and my W and if the rest of my kit just like deals no damage, if W deals no damage? What's the point of sticking on them if I'm not doing anything? I like it when my champions are weird and unique. Why did we have to take Grievous off his queue? I like the fringe cases where I could actually 1v1 against a top lane Warwick. I like feeling like I'm actually doing something against the scant few annoying fighters who just regen their health pool throughout a majority of the fight, and I enjoyed that playing Kled offered me kind of a niche use case scenario against these other top laners. I liked rushing hubris and playing like an absolute over aggressive madman because that let me get into the character fantasy. And this is maybe my biggest complaint. That let me get into the character fantasy that I assumed Kled was supposed to offer of this crazy, raving madman, fight you, hyper aggressive. But now that we're on the other end, hooray, his remount works, but the rest of his kit doesn't. And I understand that this character is not completely fucking dumpstered, okay? I'm not saying that he's trash tier garbage. I know he isn't. I'm not trying to overtly turn this conversation into a debate of whether or not Kled has become more viable. Kled is my most played character, at least on this account. I'm not like a Kled one-trick pony who has only ever and will only ever play Kled. I probably play him as much as my other favorite champions right now. But I used to really like him. I used to queue up Kled knowing that I'm going to get crazy, that I'm going to get down and dirty, that I'm going to take fights that maybe I shouldn't and see what kills me and what doesn't. I'm constantly limit testing. I'm constantly in their face. Kled is always a threat. It looks like I'm inting all the way until I walk away with the kill with 5 health to my name, with or without my lizard. And I get that maybe some, if not a lot of the changes made to his kit were probably necessary in one way or another to make Kled a more modernized competitive champion. I guess. I don't know. Um, Considering his kit hasn't been touched for so long, maybe we were just thinking about this for a long time back at the Riot headquarters, trying to figure out what he needed. But I mean, I'm giving the rework benefit of the doubt at this point, and I'm trying to stay self-aware that maybe I'm just not used to it. Like, I still watch Fita Boy, I still watch Soul Mario, I still watch people actively be successful and play well with new Kled, and maybe part of my disappointment is just feeling like I can't anymore, since I've only ever known the Rushdown Madman, and I've never had to play in an era where I feel like I have to play it, ironically, so much safer, despite the fact that I have quote-unquote more survivability. Like, none of giving the benefit of doubt to his rework being viable, none of that really changes the fact that I'm missing the character fantasy. Kled used to be hype moments in aura 24/7, every engage, every skirmish. I'm calculating the chances in my brain that I die in a glorious self-inflicted inferno or absolutely wail on an individual in ways that are both disgusting and obscene in a matter of seconds. Not that he's supposed to be some low brain 24/7 fight and see what happens champion. It's more than that, but I just liked initiating fights with Kled and I felt useful doing it. I liked initiating fights with all of that damage. I liked having W up and thinking, now's the time. I'm timing my engage. Despite having theoretically more survivability now, I ironically feel even less useful in a team fight and less able to 1v1 champions than I was before. I was initially very excited for the rework, and on the other end of it, I kind of feel scammed. Like, I've played this dude fucking everywhere except jungle. I've played him top lane, mid lane, ADC. I haven't played him jungle since I wasn't brave enough. But I've even made him work support when me and my duo were getting really fucky. Like, I just understood his kit. In a lot of ways, I'm just not feeling the effects of his supposed survivability, and the survivability that I do feel doesn't necessarily feel like it was worth the trade-off. The changes were supposed to make him more of a fighter, but I feel like it's only made him worse at that job. And again, especially in team fights, I feel aimless and useless. I was more useful in a team fight before. Like, with new Kled, I can Q someone, I can stick on top of them, but it's not like I have a stun. I can't lock them down for my team. I can just follow them, and I'm dealing so much less damage than I used to. So what am I supposed to do now? Do I just not engage? Do I walk away? I used to play Kled to roam and kill. I I don't really enjoy forcing Kled to like just stay on a side lane and beeline towers. If I wanted to do that, I would just play any other character that can already do that. And old Kled could do that too if you wanted to. But now it feels like it's kind of like your only option. I no longer feel like an axe wielding madman. His W's energy and screaming mean nothing to me because they no longer deal any fucking damage. His playstyle no longer matches his voice lines. All of his AD ratios got hit. His remount gimmick is still locked to 30 seconds the entire game. The bonus health and like unmounted resistance and whatever just feel meaningless. I don't feel like I have nearly as much of a strong early game, and by mid game, when we're moving out of lane and around the map, I feel even more useless. And by the dev's words, he's not supposed to be a scaling champion, so what the fuck am I doing when I play Kled now? Like, what's the point? I love being a snowball. I want to play Kled and build hubris and just go fight and threaten people. That's what made Kled fun. He was crazy. He was out there, and maybe part of the problem is that they just couldn't figure out how to actually like give him build variety. Going full lethality isn't viable anymore, so you're locked into this new playstyle that I quite frankly think is just the antithesis of what his character is supposed to feel like based on how he acts and is given personality. Right? It feels weird. It doesn't feel like Kled. The old Kled matched Kled's personality and character fantasy so much better. New Kled, I can build Titanic, Hullbreaker, Hubris, Heartsteel, fucking throwing Overlords in there, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to get to that point with Kled again because he doesn't have the scalings for it. It's like Doomfist all over again. I loved DPS Doomfist, but I always wished that he could play tank. Then he got put in the tank category, and I was like, yay! But with the complete rework that gutted every single part about what made Doomfist fun to play in the first place. I'm still not over his uppercut getting removed. They could have just kept his whole kit with less damage and more health. All I wanted for Kled was for his remount gimmick that his entire champion identity was based around to function properly. They did that, and then, well, look at that. They gutted every single part that made him fun to play at the same time. The monkey paw curled again. My beloved fighter, get in, get out, deal damage along the way, skilled, precise input, skirmisher, live by the skin of your teeth character got the changes that I wanted that somehow got coupled by completely removing the identity I've already come to enjoy and associated with that character. Now, I don't play Doomfist anymore. I just look at him fondly on the character select screen and cry a little bit, and I don't want that to be Kled. I don't want to do the same thing with Kled. Given that I've enjoyed Kled so much, I'm terrified of the same thing happening to him. The last thing that I want to do is stop playing Kled. Is he weak right now? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. His survivability has no sustainability if we're keeping that 30-second passive timer through the whole game anyways. But, how much would people complain about Kled if they gave him the ability to remount more often? How many health bars can this guy get? Am I crazy for suggesting that maybe full lethality Kled was somehow more healthy for the game compared to new Kled? Maybe he didn't need all these changes. It's been so long since anything happened to Kled. All we wanted was a fixed remount. Why are we coming out the gate fucking swinging and trying to change his old playstyle? What is the point of this? To me, Kled's character personality was so clearly defined. You are high risk, high reward skirmisher with no lockdown, but great sticking potential to stay on top of the enemy and ergo stay in the fight. You can engage, you can get out, and remount was your get out, your chance to somehow outplay or bait the enemy to stay in the fight. You remount, you can keep fighting or run away. I don't know, you had options, you had to think about it. Now I just have survivability with no damage. And then I get dismounted, and I still have no damage. But I'm also slower, so there's nothing to bait the enemy into doing. It doesn't matter if I get my lizard back, if throughout this whole fucking exchange, at the start of it, dismount, remount, if I don't have any threat along the way, then what does it matter if I'm surviving this prolonged fight? There's nothing to bait the enemy into doing. Before, dismounted Kled was very disadvantageous, yes, but you could still threaten people with Q and W, and those that got too cocky, the enemies that got too big for their britches who would chase you down would suddenly eat a bunch of axe in the mouth and die, thinking that they could get the drop on me just because I didn't have my lizard. And if they got away, I could shoot them with a shotgun and secure the kill, or get my fucking courage off of that engage and then chase them back down. It was fun, man. Now I feel like I'm never going to have a good reason to flash Q someone again. These stupid funny moments, those how did that even work plays, the joy of successfully baiting someone while dismounted and flipping it into a kill. I had more of a chance to 1v2 the enemy top laner in jungle ganking me than I did before Kled got more survivability. How does that work? Right? The survivability just means nothing to me. This rework means nothing to me. So what do we need? What do we want? Is this even the common consensus with Kled players? I don't know. Like, I checked the Reddit and people seem to be kind of on the fence about it, but I'm seeing people react positively and negatively, so I don't know if there even is a common consensus. But this is my point of view, and this is what I've picked up. Risky lethality Kled flatly just felt more fun to play, somehow felt more useful in 1v1s and team fights than this newer, more surviving Kled, and old Kled was infinitely more true to his character fantasy. The fixed remount just wasn't worth all this other bullshit, and I have no idea why Riot felt it was necessary to both fix the remount and then change his entire champion personality and gameplay at the same time. Because we didn't fucking want that, especially because they changed it in ways that don't make any sense as to the kind of character Kled is supposed to portray. Kled, the rabid territorial dog with rabies, has been neutered. The balls have been cut off, and now there isn't a single threatening part about his kid or character. I think he's even more of a joke than he was before. Not that I know if more people play him or not, but I'm just saying. And they're not gonna... the fucking Skarner rework. People still don't play Skarner. Are people playing Kled more now? That they made him less fun and less interesting and less unique? I don't fucking know, but probably not. And they're not going to reverse any of this, right? It doesn't do that. Like I said, there's still, and there's still people finding success with Kled It was the same. It was the same reason before. Maybe it's just because he's a one-trick champion, but it's not like he's got a sub 50% win rate right now. At least I don't think he does. That and Riot just never reverses these sweeping changes. Why would they? But unless they buff him in ways that would make every non-Kled player cry now, I unfortunately find it really difficult to see myself coming back to this champion. They're not going to reverse everything that they've done to him. They're not going to make him a full lethality fighter again. Um, I don't know. I I just don't see myself coming back to this champion in this state, and I hate that because I don't hate Kled. I hate what they did to Kled. Is it a hot take to say that they've made Jesus fuck? Is it a hot take to say that they've made Kled easier to play for people who are bad at the game and nothing else? Because to me, ultimately, it feels like they just gave him a lot more hand holding resistances and health. They put on training wheels, and they took away anything that actively let him be a playmaker, active unit, threat on the field. They made him easier to play and made him less of a playmaker. I don't feel the skill expression in new Kled. I can't burst down squishies, so why does my sticking power matter if I don't also have lockdown? Do they want Kled to be a tank or not? What am I supposed to do? At least Darius can fucking pull people into his team and then W them. That's a lockdown. I call that lockdown. I can full charge ult into an enemy Lux, drop my entire kit in Titanic and not get the kill. You didn't have to change anything else. We just wanted the remount. You didn't have to reinvent Kled. That was never the point. And for what I've seen pre-rework, it isn't even like it doesn't feel like it was what the community was asking for. I fell in love with Kled's character fantasy because it works so well. Why did you want to turn him into someone else? Why did you feel the need to radically change his game plan in ways that just flat out barely work when all you needed to do was fix his fucking bugs in his remount? He gets more survivability because his antiquated remount gimmick got bug fixed and brought up to code. He got some compensation resistances while dismounted, like anyone gives a fuck because dismounted Kled is no longer a threat on his own. It doesn't matter if you bait people into fighting you because now it feels 9 times out of 10 successfully baiting someone will just kill you anyway since you aren't getting as much courage or you're not putting out as much damage. Who the fuck played Kled in this day and age to play Bruiser, to play Tank? Who wanted this? I know some people did, but who wanted this? And the funniest part is, these old things that killed Kled, like Fiora and Bork, still do, if not easier. His counters got worse at the same time. Kled got less effective against matchups he used to win, and the shit that killed him is still killing him, if not harder. What? Even with my attempts at self-awareness and benefit of the doubt that I give the rework, it really does feel like this is less of a difficult adjustment period and more of just a failed softball that was too scared to keep Kled a threat in any way that mattered. Also, getting kited ironically feels worse now, despite the survivability, because you can E onto someone, dump W, hit Q, everything, and it won't be enough to kill him. So now your only options without any of your movement or CC are chase someone down while they're still autoing you or run away and hope they don't chase you. Meanwhile, old Kled would have gotten the kill in the instance that they managed to get the person who was out of position. Now it just doesn't matter. All the risk still feel like it's more or less present in his kit, with the added bonus of not getting anything out of the reward. So what is the fucking point of this rework? What is the fucking point of new Kled? I mean, I'm not really asking what the point of his rework was. You know, it was about time he got any kind of attention. He's just been serially ignored. I get it. But why did we have to come out swinging with such large changes instead of just addressing the few core complaints the player base had and moving it on from there bit by bit? Why are we playing... Why are we doing so much when we just could have fixed the fucking remount and call it a day and move on from there and then communicate with the Kled players and see what they want? See what's wrong with the champion. Why did we have to change him so drastically? And like, what is the point of Kled as a character? What value does he bring to his team? How is he supposed to effectively 1v1 or team fight now? Because he feels worse at both of them. At what point in the game is Kled supposed to feel powerful? He's got a weak early, a middling mid game, and no scaling late game, so you're still a super minion, and you can't snowball early anymore because you're not winning these fights with damage, you're not building hubris first. So what is the power fantasy? What is the character fantasy? What is the point of Kled in the overall schema of this fucking 5v5? What is Kled supposed to do now? Because I feel like he had a pretty clear role before. I don't know. I'm still open to the idea that maybe I'm just tweaking, but I just really don't think he's fun to play anymore for a number of reasons that I feel like I have adequately addressed. I feel like if I drag this video out, I'm just going to be saying the same shit over and over. I probably already have, but I have no hope that we're going to see old Kled again because Riot does not walk back reworks like this. So my options are either to not play him or to force myself into playing a different version of Kled in a playstyle that isn't nearly as fun and doesn't feel like Kled at all. I would gladly sacrifice some of these fucking training wheels to let Kled be his own playmaker again, because it feels like that is so much harder to do now. Alright, yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.